the secondary against Calgary, but I think they can do it. I think Edmonton is a better roster. I think with some of the injuries, Edmonton has now found a defensive line mold that works best for them. And I have a lot of trust in the offense behind Justin Rankin. Like, Justin Rankin needs to touch the ball 20 to 25 times, I think, for them to be successful. And Cody, listen, Cody's not the best quarterback in the CFL. He would tell you as much probably, but he is a more than competent quarterback, and he is calm and he is composed, and that's what you need. I like them to win this one in Toronto on the road.
There are quotes coming out from Oilers rookie camp, and a couple of them I'm going to pass along, and these are basically published by the Edmonton Oilers. You'll read about them in various columns later on today and tomorrow, but I'm stealing them right now. I would attribute them, but I don't know who asked the question. This is Ike Howard, he likes to be called. I just want to make a seamless jump to the NHL right from the get-go. Just play my game and be effective offensively and be good in my own. Everyone wants you to do that, young man. The problem is it might be a little more difficult to do it than actually say it, but good words just got to back them up, and that's a lot. There's no doubt about it. Matt Savoy saying, gave me more confidence and showed me that I can play at the level and contribute at the level. That's playing with Leon Draisaitl in his 4 games. Gave me more to work towards and show me what I would need to work on. We talked to Kevin McCurdy, about a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, about how impressed we were with Savoy on the assist that he got on the Leon goal, but just his ability to hunt pucks and play the kind of style that Leon Draisaitl likes. And I think that's going to be a match, along with likely Podkolzin, that we see to open the year. Now, everybody excited about the big game tomorrow night, and then on Sunday as the Oilers rookies play the Calgary rookies. One of the reasons that it's pretty exciting is that there's more guys who might play in the NHL this year who are going to be on the ice. You know, Ike Howard's going to be there. Matt Savoy is going to be there. But we're also going to be looking at, as my understanding, guys like Vijalmi Maharla, who's a young guy with high hair. He'd make Sam look like he had short hair. And he's had 44 assists in the Alicia last year. That's a lot. He's a winger, so he's a playmaking winger. I don't know that that's a need for the Oilers, but I'd like to see him and see if he can pressure his way onto the roster at some point in time in the next year or two. Quinn Hudson is a right winger we saw for a couple of games right out of college. He'll be part of the rookie squad as far as we understand, and he'll be an interesting name to watch as well. And then we'll be, paying attention to Bo Akey, Sam Johnson, and others. But it's a great time to be an Edmonton Oilers fan. I remember when the excitement was so high when McDavid was drafted. They had an orientation camp right away, and the place was packed. And it's not at that level, and you can understand why, because there's no McDavid. But I feel I do this every year. I talk about it every year. Some people aren't listening, but I'm getting a lot more feedback this year than I have in past years. I think it's because there's a sense of a desperate need for actual guys who can play. And I think Stan Bowman should get some credit for getting guys like Maharla and Lepinen and some others out of Europe, but also Hudson and others, Carfagna out of college, guys who could be plug and play, not necessarily going to be plug and play, but they could end up doing the job. And that's pretty exciting news if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan. Now they got to go do it and prove it. Jays lose, but everybody else did. They're 3 up now. As every game, every day dwindles and goes by, if they can stay up 3, it's less of a problem. You want to avoid a losing streak. You want to win 2 out of 3, and you want to make damn good ensure the Yankee bats stay cold and their pitching is a little wobbly, not like the Mets. Oh, my God, the New York Mets. We are witnessing once again the New York Mets doing New York Mets things. They should not be 2 games ahead of Cincinnati in the wild card spot. That's nuts. They're so talented. What is going on with the New York Mets? They always do this. They should have won way more championships than they've won in the past, but that's what happens, man. That's why they play 162 baseball games to make sure that everybody's ready by the time they get there. But wow, would that be a major, major hit to that franchise if they were to miss the playoffs? All right, you can text us at 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what's going on. Let us know how you feel about tomorrow night's game, the Elks game on the weekend, and, of course, the Toronto Blue Jays, who are, I think, an item of interest. I think people are into that. I know you somehow want to have a playoff team and a playoff team that wins, but you've got to get there, right? And right now, that's what we're dealing with. You can only deal with what's in front of you. Any thoughts on the Thursday night football game? It looks like a pretty good matchup there, Declan. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think this one, and you know me, I wasn't as high on the Green Bay Packers. Where did you come out on the Packers, actually? Because everyone seemed to be higher on them than I was. I thought, 9-8, 10-7. This was pre-Micah, granted, but I just thought they had a few too many issues and maybe not as many highlighted players as you would point to from a team that's a real deep competitor. But where did you come out on Green Bay preseason?
I felt like Green Bay. I always feel like Chicago's the worst team. The Vikings are
Absolutely.
the team that could jump the other teams or get close. And I felt like Green Bay is building. I feel like Green Bay is the most logical team in the division. Does that make sense? So
yes.
They're building and they're getting better, and maybe they're not there. But you said 9-8. I think that would have been reasonable.
Well, yeah, like my point being is I wasn't high on them, and yeah, I guess by what you've just said, you weren't overly high on them either. But a lot of people had really high hopes for the Green Bay Packers, and this game against Washington, I'm not calling this a Super Bowl preview by any, NFC Championship game preview by any stretch of the imagination. But this does seem to me to be two heavy hitters in the NFC. And I think whoever wins this game and how they look will tell us a lot about what they may be able to do in the playoffs. I probably, honestly, will lean Green Bay in this one.
Okay.
I think Washington certainly could win. I think they have, the potential to do it on the back of Jaden Daniels. But I was really, really impressed by Green Bay against Detroit. And I was a little underwhelmed by Washington against the Giants.
Well, let's do this. You're the smartest guy in the room with regard to the NFL. That was a shot at Josh. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, Josh might agree.
Would you agree, Josh, or is he the smartest guy?
What about whether or not who's smarter at the NFL? I mean, it's probably Declan, but that's just a blow to my ego.
Okay, well then I'm glad I said it. So, so why don't you handicap the division? Both of you do it for me. Okay, give me the division. 1 through 4.
The NFC North or the
NFC East?
The NFC North.
Okay.
I mean, right now, I think you kind of have to go with the Packers. We just saw them beat Detroit pretty handily. And I think Detroit was the team a lot of people thought was going to be the best. So I'll say Green Bay number 1. I'll say Detroit number 2.
Okay.
And then we got another in-division game and the Vikings won. So I'll go Vikings 3, Bears 4. It's tough to not. The Bears will always be last until they do something outrageous to prove that they're not last.
That's fair. That's fair.
I agree with that ranking.
No. The reason I wanted you to tell me, I asked you the other day, and I think you alluded the answer, as you often do, stick handling around the point. I wanted to know where you thought Detroit would land, because you've been not unimpressed, but not as impressed as maybe I thought you would be about the Lions this year. And I know it's about coaching, right?
Yeah. Listen, they lost both their coordinators. And some of the memes that went around post week 1 were pretty, they were pretty funny. Like they were talking when Dan Campbell doesn't have Ben Johnson, all he does is yell. And it kind of seemed like that might be. Now, I think the Lions will be fine. I think they'll right the ship. And I do think Dan Campbell is a good coach, I should say. But we are going to see just how valuable Ben Johnson was to that Lions team as the season progresses.
Okay. All right. So we've got a very busy day on the way. We have Meg Mill coming up at 1 o'clock. We have Declinations at 1:40 today. Rumors just around the corner. But I really want to dig down on these things. I want to talk about Thursday night football, and we're going to tee up the entire weekend. We're going to do that tomorrow, right? Is Friday the day we're going to tee up the entire weekend?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But I want to talk about the Elks as well and the CFL in general. And we are going to talk about the Edmonton Oilers because rookie camp is beginning. They're going to play a game tomorrow night. And maybe we're going to even have some fun with lines and pairings. I know that's everybody's favorite thing. It's all on the way. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
It's the Bricks famous tent sale. Save up to 60% off clearance items in the tent and store, with more amazing deals arriving daily in every department. Like up to $1,800 off power reclining sectionals and up to $700 off big screen TVs. Buy more, save more when you buy 2 or more major appliances, up to $1,000 off. Plus, get a free Bluetooth party speaker when you spend $9.99 or more on furniture. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
September, back to class and back to carting the kids around. Good news. Until the end of the month at Wolf GMC Buick, get GMC employee pricing on all remaining 2025 GMC Sierras, so you'll have loads of room. Plus, get 0% financing on Sierra light-duty crew cabs. If you're eyeing up an SUV, we have the completely redesigned GMC Terrain and our entire Buick family with incredible prices. And Costco members up to $1,200 additional off the price. Come see us, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Prepare for the pulse-pounding excitement of Indian relay races.
This is the original extreme sport. 3 teams, 1 wild season, and they're all chasing glory.
To be successful, it can't ride safe.
Horse Warriors. It's on Thursday nights on APTN TV. You're gonna love it.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Breaking down the fine art of sports.
One rep at a time.
The Lowdown
with Lowetide.
Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440, brought to you by WolfGMCBuick.com. I'm sorry for laughing, but the gentleman who was singing that song, it felt like he was just making up stuff as he went along. So what's the name of that song?
That was What Was Me by Down with Webster.
Okay.
Great Canadian band.
Okay. I'm not disrespecting
Dare I
him.
say a classic song.
He made me laugh when he said, "You say you're a big deal, big deal." That made me laugh, and then he kept going on big deal, and it was like he just was. You know how
those are just Lil Wayne bars, but it was in a rock song instead of a rap song.
But what I loved about it was that it's exactly like when you're trying, what rhymes with, and that's the way it rolled out, and it made me giggle. So well done by that young man, whoever was singing that song. It is time for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. Great Canadian Solar has been helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in solar and yourself, greatcanadiansolar.com. By the way, I just want to take a moment to thank everybody who's tuning in on YouTube. Apparently, we're doing pretty well with the numbers, and I don't know whether to thank Sam or Josh for that. Who's most in control? Like, you seem like you're in control.
You can thank Wanye Gretz for this.
Wanye?
No, I mean, yes, it was his idea. I don't know.
He's always been trying to make me a star. I know that.
There's a lot of fingers in a lot of pies, so I don't think you can just say one person is responsible for it. However, I'll take the credit.
Okay.
Why not?
And poor Sam is over there going, "Oh, I helped. It's okay. Don't worry about it."
But Sam did not help.
All right. This is what I always talk about this time of year, because now we're going to get the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So you remember a couple of weeks ago when Mark Spector wrote an article saying, looks like Zach Hyman isn't shooting a puck yet. And so then you start rolling out the weeks and saying, well, maybe he's going to be available first week of November. Now, remember all the guys who were hurt last year? There was Matthias Ekholm, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Evan Bouchard, Jake Wallman had an issue. Who am I missing? A bunch of guys, just a pile of hockey players on the Edmonton Oilers who had issues. So, or the CBC, they say issues. So we haven't really heard about all of them. Guys have shown up, but who knows what they're doing. Here's what you worry about. Jets' Adam Lowry underwent hip surgery, out 5 to 6 months. And so you plan your team, and this is a little bit of an old story, but you plan your team, and then you've been making your lines and your pairings, and you're just not sure. You're just not sure about what's going on. So we have coming to our rescue Daniel Nugent-Bowman today, and we thank him. We'll have him on the air here pretty quick. But DNB 26 minutes ago tweeted out, for what it's worth, at Captain Skate scrimmage, McDavid is centering Henrique and Kapanen. Draisaitl has Podkolzin on his left wing. Nuge is between Tomasek and Hamblin. Frederick is centering Janmark when he's not with McDavid. And Philp is with Mangiapane. So it's all over Hell's Half Acre, but it's the first official lines so far this fall. And it gets us rolling. You got to kind of slide into it. You can't just... It's not like jumping in the creek the first day of spring. You got to build up to this. So McDavid centering Henrique and Cap. I don't think we'll see it. But what about Kapanen replacing Hyman until he's back? And what about Henrique replacing Nuge? Because then you could slide. Jason Gregor has been talking about this forever. You could slide over Nuge to the third line center job. Hey, LT, just wanted to ask. This is from Questionable Scholar. That is such an interesting name. Hello, LT. Just wanted to ask if you had any idea about what Maharla might be. His NHL equivalency suggests there's a player there, but his junior deployment and production was low. I sort of get the sense that he gets better when the game is more structured. It could be, and also we have to allow for what is borderline impossible, and that is if he ends up with one of the skill guys at center, and it's a long shot, but McDavid, Draisaitl, even Nuge, anytime during his deal, and he pops off of 4 or 5 points, then chemistry is built. One of the reasons the Edmonton Oilers had so many great wingers back in the 80s is some of these cats were playing with Wayne Gretzky and others were playing with Mark Messier. That really helps, and so that's a factor in all of this. What we know about Maharla, what makes me interested in him, is 44 assists in a pretty good league, the Liga, which is Finland's top league. So, I mean, the scouting reports, here's what I know about him. He's got high hair, he skates well, and he can pass really well. Don't know anything else about him. There's always something with players who have not been drafted and signed by their teams, or not been drafted at all, or they're 22 and they're coming over from Europe and when they're 22, right? All NHL teams are exceptional at finding all the teenagers who can play at a high level by the time they turn 20. Now, this fellow was, he did play in the queue, he did get drafted, he did lots of other things, but he has not played an NHL game. So we've got to wait and see what he is. I like him, but I think that we'll be watching him on our computers via Bakersfield in the fall. And he was drafted 5th round, 2021 by the Buffalo Sabres. And he's listed as 6 foot 176, which I call undersized. But 44 assists in the Liga is just lights out good. He had 52 points in 54 games. We'll have to wait and see. But he's intriguing. Listening to you guys grounds me a ton. This is from Zach. Knowing I can always tune to LT no matter how life is going, there's a consistency there that is so appreciated. Thanks for always being there and helping me keep some perspective on this thing we call life. Lots of love to all of you. Keep on making this world a better place. It really does mean a ton, and I hope you know that. Zach, that's beautiful. Thank you. I will tell you that the reason that I've always loved radio is because when I was like 9, we moved from the lower mainland to British Columbia. We lived in Maple Ridge in Wannock, which is just up from Haney off the Lougheed Highway. Not that you care. But we moved when I was 9 to Maidstone, Saskatchewan, which was also a very nice place. We moved 17 miles north of Maidstone, and it was very isolated. And I used to listen to 14 CFUN in Vancouver when I was 9, living in the Lower Mainland and getting to watch Scan of the Whale at Stanley Park 3 times a year. And we moved to Maidstone, and I really felt isolated. But somehow, it's funny how life works. There is grace in the world. The radio AM signal bounced off the mountains and bounced off the prairies and landed 17 miles north of Maidstone with the coyotes and the northern lights. And I got to listen to that radio station, and it was like a piece of home, and it connected me. And that's the beautiful thing about radio. And that's why it's so important, is it connects us. So I appreciate your words, and I thank you for it. And I know exactly what you're talking about because I have had that experience with radio myself. I'm a little concerned that Connor said long-term, short-term, no term yesterday. Terry in North Edmonton. I think it was the day before, but it doesn't really matter. I've sort of opted out talking about it, but since you asked, I will tell you how I feel about it. I think that Connor McDavid is a person of integrity. I think he carries himself in a certain way that allows you to trust that he has the interests of the organization in mind. That doesn't mean forever. He'll play for another team and he'll have the interests of that team in mind. But I think he's fully aware of how important he is to this team and how much of the team is built around him. So my own belief is that if he were going to leave, this would be a much different conversation, and it would have started far earlier, like in June or July. So the question I have isn't about the contract. I think it's how long it's going to be. It's going to be 2, whatever the case may be. And I have several theories about why the delay may be occurring. He may well, because he's sort of a straight shooter and he has the courage of his convictions, he may well want to see some proof that some of these young players are going to be kind of able to plug and play. He may be concerned about the future of the organization in terms of talent. They don't have a lot on the farm. I've been yelling about it for 2 years now. But there may also be other things in play. He may want to wait. There may be pressure on him from the NHLPA. I notice a lot of players aren't signing yet. So when they all sign, I think he'll sign. But I don't think you should sweat it too much, and here's why. Number one, he's never presented himself as a guy who would go and do that. Allow me to use the Mitch Marner situation in Toronto to compare. There was always some sense of antagonism or unease with the relationship between Marner, the fan base, and the organization. I've never felt that way about Connor McDavid. And I've also never felt that he was a me first kind of guy. Some of the quotes that he's used in the last little while have led folks to believe that and come to that conclusion. And you are fully able to do that. And I'm not going to criticize you for it. But I think on the whole, the length and breadth of the time that we've known Connor McDavid, which face it is a decade, he is a person that I think says what he means. And right now, I think he is uncertain. And when he is certain, I think he'll sign. It might be 2 years, but we'll see. I remember when the Mets lost a big lead in the division by losing their last 7 games. I don't cheer for them anymore. Mets are going to Met. It's true. They're just a dumb organization. They traded Tom Seaver. I can't tell you what a dumbass move that was. Tom Seaver was like a hero. He was like central to the Mets. And they got into a pissing contest with him, and they traded him to Cincinnati, where, by the way, he continued to win baseball games, and the Mets didn't. So the Mets they're just a silly team. There are teams like that, and it's hard to cheer for them because they're so stupid all the time. Say what you want about the Dodgers. I know they've got more money than Roosevelt, but they also, most of the time, although I do question Dave Roberts' ability to keep any pitcher healthy, they make a lot of really good decisions. They draft a lot of really good players, and they also pick up players off the scrap heap and turn them into better players when they get to L.A. Mets are kind of the opposite, although I do love some of those young pitchers they have coming up. So we'll see. Are you in any fantasy baseball or football leagues, Declan?
Well, I'm in fantasy football, Lowetide.
Okay.
Let's not mess around there. I'm in a couple of those.
So is there any free agent that everybody's going after this week?
Yeah, well, dependent on league size and things like that. A big one, I think, for a lot of people would have been Quentin Johnson after the way he played in the Chargers Chiefs games, because he obviously couldn't catch a ball to save his life to start his career. Still probably can't, but played well. Harold Fannin Jr., I think, is a guy who is getting a little bit more popular to be picked up at that tight end position. Though I'm probably missing someone fairly obvious who had a good week, but those are two that immediately come to mind for me.
Okay.
Because you don't play fantasy football, right?
I don't play fantasy anything except I'm back in fantasy baseball.
And that's like, you love your fantasy baseball.
I know, but it's, you know what it's like? Do you have anything in your life that, like, I avoided it for like 2 decades because it is like, I can't resist it. It's like
right. It's like me with nicotine pouches.
Right. It's like cherry cheesecake. I'm like, oh my God, that's so good. It's so very good. Right. Or what's your favorite hamburger joint?
Now, are we talking like fast food, or are we talking like sit down and get greasy with it?
Don't care. Which one? What's your favorite hamburger on planet Earth?
Oh man, my favorite hamburger on planet Earth, I honestly probably can't remember, as crazy as that sounds. Like, it was probably a hamburger I had on vacation somewhere and like never bothered to remember the place because I went to so many. You know what I mean?
Friends, have you ever asked a question and then immediately regretted it?
Was that not a good answer?
Well,
that was an honest answer.
I just needed you to throw me some name out there.
Okay. For fast food, I like A&W.
Oh, I love their burgers.
It's pretty. I like Five Guys a lot too. Yeah. But Five Guys costs you $16,000 every trip.
A teen burger is really damn good. It is. I love my barbecued burgers.
For fast food, I loved Shake Shack. Shake Shack was awesome. I like Shake Shack more than In-N-Out.
I don't know if I've had Shake Shack. Is it here?
No.
Okay.
Come on. We don't get that cool stuff up here.
Well, come on. We've got lots of cool stuff.
It's getting better. We're getting, Krispy Kreme and Chipotle and Chick-fil-A. We gotta get In-N-Out. We gotta get Shake Shack. I wouldn't say no to a Sonic. This is just me being greedy. Is really all this segment's become.
So you like the chains?
No. Like, I mean, the chains are just a little easier to remember.
But like Jack's Burger Shack in St. Albert is fantastic.
Yeah. Never had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I've never had it. I just lied. Man, I don't. You know what? Actually, I'll tell you this. I had a really, really, really good burger when I was like 12 years old in North Battleford. Don't know where it was, though.
It's funny you mentioned that, because at one time I was driving to Saskatoon to visit a relative of mine, and I was solo. It was just me.
Right.
And I stopped at Langham, Saskatchewan. And because my dad helped build the bridge there in the 40s or whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'll just stop it. I'm really hungry. So I went in and I ordered a roast beef sandwich and a glass of milk. Best roast beef sandwich I've ever had in my life. I can't tell you how damn good it was. And the guy just made it lickety split. It wasn't like he was doing anything special, but the roast damn beef was so good.
Oh man.
Sometimes
it just hits the spot
Yeah.
perfectly.
The only other roast beef I've ever had in a roast beef sandwich that tastes as good is at Fife and Deckel, and that's the truth. Okay. What are we doing for time? 12:33.
We got about 5 minutes here. We got to take a break. We took our last break a little early.
5 minutes. It's 12:33. Don't we break at 12:35?
Well, like 12:30. The breaks, the way it lines up, like 12:36, 12:37.
So you've been lying to me all this time.
Well, it's kind of up. We do the best at staying on time. It's kind of up to, the feel of, like, if you're in a really good rant, you don't have to cut it, or a really good monologue, you don't have to cut it off early.
Well, if I ever have one of those, I'll definitely do it.
Listen, this is year 3 is the year where you finally knock off a good take. I believe in you.
Man, I so appreciate that. LT, you need to try the roast beef sandwich from Faro. I haven't. In-N-Out Burgers, Harvey's for the win. Deck really killed the momentum on your topic with that hamburger answer from BG. I know.
I did, didn't I?
It's like, hey. I'm like, just shoot me an answer. Just pick one. It's okay.
Yeah, I really did. I could have just said a place. Instead, I talked for like 2 minutes.
It's okay. You know what happens, though? And right now, you're normal.
Mm-hmm.
But what will happen to you, like, how much older? I'm about, 35 years older than you?
Way more than that. Come on. Way more.
So anyway, what'll happen is you'll start to tell a story. And let me tell you a story. I'll say, one time, and then I'll go, it was June of 73. Well, wait a minute. It might have been June of 74. Now that I think of it, it might not have been June. And by the time I'm done figuring out the damn date, you're ready to just hit me over the head with a shovel. And you never get to the story. That's what old people do. Which, again, makes me wonder why I'm still here.
You do have a bit of a tendency for that, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's okay.
LT, did you live in St. Albert when they had the Burger Shack in Village Mall? They had the mushroom burger. Forget the name when I was young, but it closed. But that was my mom's spot to take me. There you go. Burger Baron has a mushroom burger that is lights out.
I watched the Burger Baron documentary not too recently.
Not too recently. Are you having a stroke?
Isn't that the phrase? Not too recently?
Not recently. Is that I watched something recently, or
I watched
not recently.
Yeah, you're right. I watched it not too recently. I watched it 8 years ago.
Okay. All right.
I watched it recently though. It was good.
There was a time where Burger Baron was on Twitter, and the guy who was doing it, or girl, was the funniest human alive. They were so inappropriate and so hilarious. I know they got business because of it. It was fantastic. Okay. All right. I think we've exhausted the roast beef. Best roast beef dip sandwich was in the 60 to 90 at Teddy's. They were so lean, huge best beef, but sad not anymore. There you go. What's the oldest restaurant in Edmonton? Is it Bistro Praha?
It's a great question. Obviously, I don't know the answer. I would honestly think, and this is just me. No, I have no idea. I can't even guess.
I'm going to say it's Bistro Praha.
I'm going to look it up right now.
When I came to Edmonton in 1975 for the first time, Bistro Praha was there. Bako was here.
Okay. You know what it
Riv
is,
Rock
actually?
Room. What?
The oldest Chinese restaurant in the city is
that's a
Lingnan,
restaurant. Okay.
from 1947.
Wow.
The oldest restaurant, it looks like, is the Commodore.
Wow.
And Teddy's Deli and Steakhouse opened in 1932. I don't know where that is though, or what that is. I know where the Commodore and Lingnan are.
Isn't Teddy's on Jasper?
I don't know, man. I live on Jasper-ish.
Ish. Do you live in the high rises? Those are really
Teddy's.
cool.
I know Teddy's.
Well, this is you today. You are
Not
so
a deli though.
Well, no, but they can make roast beef sandwiches.
Now
they
I'm
have
thinking,
nice fork spoons and butter and roast beef.
Now I'm thinking the Meta AI has done me wrong. I'm gonna go with the Commodore.
Do you think maybe it's the USB port? Cam Tate says Wayback Burger is the best. There you go. Declan says, please retweet this on Twitter so we can get more views.
Yep.
So I've just redone it. Is that okay?
That's perfect. Jason also retweeted it. That was huge for us.
All right. We're doing pretty good, eh?
Could be doing better.
Well, you and your perfection. Why don't we wait until we can do the show properly?
There's a lot to shore up.
Well, I have to say that I thought Sam did a good job yesterday when you weren't doing the job.
Yeah, no, Sam did great yesterday.
Yeah. I feel bad though. I yelled at him. Did you hear me yell at him?
Well, it was deserved. It's like the first thing you got to do is fade the music. So I get it.
Well,
I would have yelled at you too. I would have been meaner about it.
I'm like, hi, Kevin McCurdy. Oh, werewolves of London. And I'm like, well, that's not right. So, but I could have said, young man, could you possibly turn it down instead of turn the music off?
Sam didn't take it personally though.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes Sam's kind of quiet. Sometimes people internalize that stuff.
No, Sam did well. Sam will probably be opping for the majority of his time here, I would think. Because Connor and Brandon don't have a schedule when they bring all these interns in.
So this is basically
we're the dumping ground for it. But
we bring in the interns so every other producer but you doesn't have to work.
I work way more than any other producer here, and they know that.
Because you tell them every 11 seconds.
Yeah, because it's tenfold the amount of work I do.
But we love you for it.
No, listen, it keeps me busy. I love it too.
Yeah. And it keeps you out of trouble because when you aren't busy, you go a little crazy on the oatmeal. And you were kind of sulky yesterday.
Well, the oatmeal was...
You were kind of a grump.
The oatmeal...
I don't care about the show.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did. You did exactly that. You said, I don't really care about this show.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did.
In what context?
I was saying about that Josh was upset. Sam looked a little disheveled, but Declan is calm. And then you said, "Yeah, I don't really care about the show."
No, not about the show, but listen, like if everyone's gonna be here, doing stuff, onus is on them.
Felt to me like you were a little sulky, a little pouty.
No, I've done everything for 2 years. I'm allowed to take some time off. I'm allowed to take a few minutes off.
You're going to come in here with a scythe one day. All right. Can we take a break now, sir?
Absolutely. And you know what? We're actually late now. Probably.
Okay, perfect. But it was worth it. That's grand radio right there. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
$1 plus tax for...
High drive. Deep left field. Laureano going back at the wall. He leaps at the wall. Laureano says no. Time to link and brings it back. Hernando can do it right, but Laureano can do it in left.
Oh. Calm, cool, and collected.
Base hit it to right field. Peter Falefa coming in to score. Straw racing around to third. Andres hit the middle and through. An RBI single by Nathan Lucas has tied the game. The bottom of the screen, second and goal, 10 seconds. Daniels fires, it's a touchdown. Jamison Crowder. Turnovers and the lead with seconds remaining. The bottom of the screen, second and goal, 10 seconds. Daniels fires, it's a touchdown. Jamison Crowder.
Been found, but who I am is who I really want to be. You're so good for me, and when I'm holding you.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440, playing the cool tunage. Brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continues at wolfgmcbuick.com. When I'm reading the liner, is the full scap showing up in front of the camera? If it does, I apologize.
You know what? We understand.
Okay. Barb and Ernie's on 99th has been around forever. It sure has. So has Haps, I believe. There was a one in the West End too. It was in a little strip mall thingy. Used to go there. I loved it. I can't remember the name of it though. I loved the waitress there. She was an older individual, and she reminded me of she could have stepped right into the television show Alice. She is crusty, man. You'd order something that was not on the menu, and everybody loved her. Understand? Everybody loved her, and she'd say, "That's not on the menu. You're going to get this." Man, that's one thing I love about Edmonton is that there are so many characters in this town, truly. And I'm not even talking about the people that are, that are here in the room. Saratoga, 1958. There you go. Bistro Praha, fantastic. Dropped the kids off in McEwen a couple of weeks ago and couldn't head back to God's country, Yorkton, Saskatchewan, until a trip to Bistro Praha. I go there when when I go there is when I'm down. When I want to just be uplifted by like good food and just stepping into something that feels right. And that's that. I mean, I'm doing an ad for them, but I don't mean to. I just mean that there are some times in life when you need something that you go, yes, please. And that's one of them. 99th Street Diner. Barb and Ernie's family from Vic. Pat and Mike's. That's it. Pat and Mike's. Thank you, Ryan. Anyway, the food was great, and you could go there. We used to have our sales meetings there, and we were just a long table. We used foul language, but we always paid and tipped, and we always ate good food. Good people. How excited are you for this weekend schedule in the Canadian Football League, Declan? We've got Hamilton, Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
That's fairly even up in terms of record. How do you like that game? Who do you like there tomorrow night?
Well, Chris Drevler's coming in for Zach Caleros, so Hamilton should win that one. Hamilton, we went through the power rankings on. Sorry, hold on a sec. I'm just gonna bring myself up on stream. We went through the power rankings on Elks 101 the other day, and Hamilton came in at number 3, and it felt a little generous, but really, like, who else do you put there? You know what I mean? Like, it kind of has to be Hamilton. They're hosting Winnipeg. That game goes tomorrow night. I expect them to probably win that game. I don't know what Winnipeg is going to look like without Zach Caleros, because quite frankly, they haven't looked that great this season overall. So I like Hamilton in that one. The BC-Ottawa game. Ottawa just beat BC 34-33. And BC is 9.5 point favorites in this one.
Can you see my eyebrows on YouTube? Okay. I was thinking maybe I should use a pencil, What about the Elks? You think, because if BC loses and the Elks win, like, we're late enough in the season where that could be, massive, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Montreal, Saskatchewan, I'm assuming you're going to go with the Rough Riders?
Yeah, they're gonna run away with that.
Are the Rough Riders good enough to just say we'll anoint them as the Western representative in the final? Or are they there yet?
Well, Calgary's beat them twice and held them to 15 points in one game, 10 points in the other game. The 10-point one at home, right? Like 12.5. That's a really, really good defensive performance. And sometime, I think everyone would kind of agree, based on record, that Saskatchewan is the number 1 team in the CFL power rankings. But Calgary has their number. They've beat them twice. So, until we see Saskatchewan get over the hump that is Calgary this season, when you strictly talk about the West, I understand, even if and presumably when Saskatchewan has the home field advantage in the West final, Calgary may be a team people lean with.
No. It's 12:49. This is 9/11. And Rascal Gas, we've been following each other for 1,000 years, tweeted out earlier today, remembering former Edmonton Oilers scout Ace Bailey. And he's at the memorial, and there's an Oilers hat above Garnet Ace Bailey's name. And I'm not going to get into politics today. I'm just not. We're not going there. But I did want to acknowledge that beautiful photograph. I tweeted it out earlier. I'm going to retweet it again. And I know some people who knew Garnet Ace Bailey, and he was a real character and well loved. Won a Stanley Cup with the Boston Bruins, played for the Edmonton Oilers and then coached their farm team. I think in the 1980, might have been the first year of the either Wichita or Houston franchise. But we remember him, and one of the saddest days I've ever lived through. People keep asking about Carter Hart, and I, we're almost there. The trial is over. There's a sense, I think, that the NHL is going to make a decision on it, but there's just been no sense talking about it until the NHL says these players can sign contracts. And I know you want that to happen. I don't know that it will. I know you want Carter Hart to sign with the Edmonton Oilers, and maybe it will, but we will certainly address it should it happen. It's sort of like in the cubby hole with the Connor McDavid contract. I probably missed this chat, but I'm getting pretty fed up with the Blue Jays bullpen. Yeah, I mean, everybody's bullpen is sort of they're all like they've all pitched all year, and they have like sore arms, dead arms, something wrong, fatigue. It's you remember Detroit a year ago where they would have bullpen games in the playoffs, which sounds absolutely crazy, but you can see why a team would do that because you don't have a starter to go. You've got a bunch of bullpen guys who are maybe they got called up halfway through the year, and what they do now is they really monitor innings. They don't if young pitchers pitched 75 innings last year, they'll get to 100, 110, and then they'll shut them down. They don't want them to pitch anymore. But if you look at, I think this is yesterday's box score. Hoffman lost the game. Little pitched third of an inning. Varland 1.1. Fisher 1 inning. And Barrios got them 5.1 innings. So he pitched pretty well. Everybody actually pitched pretty well to Hoffman. And then I think he lost it on a home run. I think that was the Yainer Diaz home run. Is that right? Sometimes I get my days and nights mixed up. Yeah, it was Yainer Diaz, his 19th of the year. So that's a ninth inning home run. Sucks, but it happens. The problem is with Hoffman, it's been happening too much. We've talked about this with Donovan Paulson on our Tuesday Chaos show. And they need to put somebody in there. Who? Here is a question. Why is lined paper called foolscap? Kirkner at Sangudo. I don't know. I just know that when I was growing up, I had a phonics workbook and I had foolscap. And so those phrases don't get used very much anymore, but I use them to keep them alive. You should have seen and smelled the glue we had in the 60s in schools. I mean, not everything back then was better. In fact, most things are better today. But man, there were some good things back in the day. How excited are you for the Edmonton Oilers training camp, full training camp? Because I have a feeling that there's going to be a sense, well, we'll get some answers. And I think you will, but they might not be the answers you want. And I'm not talking about the McDavid contract. I'm talking about injuries.
No, yeah. I mean, listen, there's obviously always intrigue and excitement to see who is what and what they look like and what they may become. And, obviously the other side of the coin, who's not what you thought they were. Mm. So there's always intrigue with that. I never get overly excited for it because I think we got to see games. You know what there's no replacement for games. Obviously I understand the importance of camp and I understand the importance of the preseason if you want to take it there and rookie skates and everything like that. But for me, especially with this iteration of the team, it's about games. You know what I mean?
I hear you. And then the early games, often you don't get, the full lineups. Like they won't play. McDavid won't play till, game 4 and it'll be a home game. The way
he'll play 8 minutes.
Yeah, right. It's like power plays. Yeah. This is via Ira Original Posar at the Lowetide site. Per Oilers Nation, Olivier Rodriguez's KHL team has put out that the two parties have agreed to terminate his contract. He had an injury during camp. When it was determined he'd need more treatment, parties mutually decided to terminate. The KHL, like, they do this. They sign a guy, he comes over, they don't like him or he's hurt. Hockey players take a lot of risks. They do. And I still think the Oilers should have signed Olivier Rodriguez, but be that as it may, they did not. And now we move on with Matt Tompkins and Samuel Johnson, who I'm really intrigued by. And I hope he plays tomorrow night. We haven't got lineups or anything like that. But I do know that the coach was talking about some of the players, so you'll get that soon. And if I can find any information about that coming up in the next little while, we will definitely have it before 2 o'clock. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk to Bag Milk at 1 o'clock about those Edmonton Oilers and rookie camp plus training camp, and declinations will be about the Canadian Football League in a very big weekend for the Elks. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. It's time for an update with Declan.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Papa John's. At Papa John's, get a large one-topping pizza for just $14.99. Use promo code L1499 at papajohns.ca or the Papa John's app. Starting in the MLB, 2 games going on right now. Pirates and Orioles tied 2-2 in the top of the 7th, and the White Sox lead the Rays 2-0 in the top of the 3rd. A little bit later on today, we will see the Blue Jays in action as they're playing host to the Houston Astros with a 107 first pitch. Kevin Gausman on the mound for that one. News around the sporting world. As a limited partner with the LA Clippers, reportedly sent nearly $2 million to a now bankrupt company that allegedly gave Kawhi Leonard an endorsement deal for a no-show job less than 10 days before the star forward was paid $1.75 million by the company. The podcast Pablo Torre Finds Out reported the news today. While general manager Bill Guerin said yesterday the team is continuing to negotiate with Kirill Kaprizov after a media report indicated the star winger turned down a record-setting deal. And Zach Collaros is out of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers lineup for Friday night's matchup with the Ticats. The veteran quarterback remained sidelined with a neck injury suffered in last week's 21-13 loss to Saskatchewan. And former Edmonton Oiler Olivier Rodriguez has had his contract with KHL's Bearis Astana terminated. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
I'm a little hungry.
I've got Booster Balls from Booster Juice.
Booster what now?
Booster Balls. They're little protein bites packed with nutrients. Chewy, crunchy, yummy, and new flavors all the time. Like this little guy. The new mint chocolate Booster Ball. Peppermint, cocoa, coconut, peanut butter, maple syrup, all rolled up into a delightful little bite-sized snack.
Why am I just hearing about this now?
I don't know.
Can I have one?
No. Booster Juice. Canadian born. Blending since 1999.
September, back to class and back to carting the kids around. Good news. Until the end of the month at Wolf GMC Buick, get GMC employee pricing on all remaining 2025 GMC Sierras, so you'll have loads of room. Plus, get 0% financing on Sierra light-duty crew cabs. If you're eyeing up an SUV, we have the completely redesigned GMC Terrain and our entire Buick family with incredible prices. And Costco members up to $1,200 additional off the price. Come see us, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Farm, ranch, acreage, or lake lot. They're here to help at Bashaw Concrete Products. Family owned and operated for 60 years. They continue to provide the best products and service, period. Call now for your free quote on the highest quality ready mix and gravel, a new septic tank, or an outhouse pad and tank. Plus precast cattle water pads, garage sumps, and more. Call 780-372-3854 for prompt delivery. Bashaw Concrete Products. 780-372-3854. BashawConcrete.com.
The ATV Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
Advance tickets are $20 or upgrade your access to sit greenside in the Sports 1440 Birdie Bar. Presented by Sleeman.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATV Classic.
On now until September 14th.
Get your tickets at atbclassic.com. lowetide.com.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Funny, I just typed in "ready or not" trying to get the Lauryn Hill song, and then it wasn't there, so I had to click that with like 6 seconds left in the stack. That was Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn. Pretty good. Walking in Memphis, that's another good song. Play Mark Cohn. Well, I mean, who doesn't? Yeah. So good.
I'm doing well. I was just kind of sitting there listening and enjoying to the music talk. Always love that when I join.
Somebody said they're closer to the heart. And her reaction, I tweeted it out, it was brilliant because I love the band Rush, the ultimate nerd band. Their lyrics are nerdy, they're meticulous, brilliant musicians, and I love them, and I love Geddy Lee's voice, but I don't know if I love Geddy Lee's voice. You know what I mean? And she had the same problem.
I hear you. He's got a very distinct voice, a very unique voice, but man, what a song Closer to the Heart, though. That is a banger. The reports are coming out and they're interviewing the young players and they're all saying the right things. Matthew Savoy was running up and down the side of the hills and mountains all summer long, which is what we usually get. But how exciting is this? This isn't exactly like the McDavid fall or the Hall fall, but it's still pretty cool. Yeah, it's 100% cool. And there's a game on the schedule. It's not the real Oilers per se, but you know, you can go down to Rogers Place on Friday night and see what we hope to be our next run of stars competing against the Flames. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about watching it on Oilers Plus. I won't be able to make it down to Rogers Place, but I am going to watch it. I want to see how Matthew Savoy plays. I want to see how Ike Howard plays. I want to see where Bo Akey's at. There's a lot of questions that are going to be kind of like, I don't know, we won't necessarily get answers over the rookie games this weekend, but at least a glimpse, a taste of what's to come, and I'm looking forward to it.
Fine.
Yeah, me too. I don't know when the last time I logged into it was, so you're welcome, Edmonton Oilers, for just, you know, zinging me on a monthly basis when I forget about it. I got to figure that out too.
I always get a reminder when I see my credit card bill. I'm like, all right, yeah, I got to go on there more because it's really good content. I just forget, you know.
Yeah, me too.
I want to ask you this. I just saw this from Dom Lashishin, who I really respect as a writer and an evaluator of talent from The Athletic. He's got the 2025-26 top 150 players broken down in tiers, okay? So I'm going to read you the tiers, and then I'm going to say how many Oilers are in the tiers, and you tell me at the end if you agree with it, okay?
Sounds good.
So the top tier number 1 is MVP. There are 10 players. 2 are Oilers. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are listed numbers 1 and 2. Now, in the second tier, which is the franchise tier, there is Evan Bouchard listed. And that tier is, I'm going to say, 20 players long, and he's probably, I'll say 14 in, but I'm guessing, and I could be wrong. The next tier, tier 3, is All-Star, and it's probably about, I'll say, 50 deep. And right now I see no Edmonton Oilers. In tier 4, it's Star, and I see Matthias Ekholm, Zach Hyman, and I think that's it. So 4 guys in the top 150, 2 in the top rung, 2 in the 4 rung. Do you agree with that? Do you think there's an omission, or do you think that's about right?
Yeah, I think there's an omission. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in all 4 of those tiers, all of them. MVP in my heart, franchise champion, star of the city. But no, I think that's pretty fair. I think that Dom uses, data to make these lists. I imagine there's some level of subjectivity in there as well. But at the end of the day, when I look at those, I don't really think much about lists too much. I just kind of want to see what the whole package looks like. But yeah, for the most part, I agree. I do think that Nuge probably could have been in that tier with Hyman, given how he's used in all situations. Maybe not necessarily based on his scoring, especially last year, but that's give or take. And I'm always gonna pump my guys' tires. So I think Dom does a really good job with data and kind of compiling that data into lists and articles that we can readily understand. And I think this is just another example.
I don't know if it was you, so I apologize, but I know it was Oilers Nation. Somebody put out a poll about will another goalie play more games than Stuart Skinner? Was that you?
That was a podcast conversation that we had on Oilers Nation Radio, and we kind of just decided to put it out to the audience. So I still think that Stuart Skinner plays the most games in net for the Oilers, and I know people listening might be yelling at the radio when I say that, but that's just my opinion. Obviously, things can change. We can see that goaltending is obviously something Stan Bowman's trying to address, but at the end of the day, I still think Stuart Skinner is going to play the most games for the Oilers this year, and if he doesn't, that means either something went sideways or we brought in another goaltender to compete with him as the starter. And, those are both reasonable options to me. Hopefully nothing goes sideways, but I could absolutely see another goalie coming in. I just still think Stu's the guy until he's proven otherwise.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I know that a lot of people get angry when I say it, but I think that Skinner's taken them to 2 Stanley Cup finals. He's been a big part of wins over Dallas in the semis 2 years in a row. I think the Oilers themselves stopped playing Oilers hockey during the finals against Florida, and they've got to figure it out. And Skinner's a part of the problem, but he's not the only problem. And I suspect if they bring in another goaltender, the results may be somewhat similar based on some of the holes on the goals against Florida, especially in games 5 and 6, where there were some injured players playing and it wasn't great. I'm not going to relive that, I promise you, but those are things to deal with. What's your sense right now about, PTOs? I see a few people, Florida's signing a bunch of guys who are going there on a PTO, but what's your sense about the Edmonton Oilers? Is there a need, and do you see them grabbing anybody?
Well, I think I don't know if there's necessarily a need. That said, I love PTOs, and we've talked about that on this segment multiple times. I love competition. I love the idea of, we still have this last year of an 8-game preseason. I love the idea of veterans coming in so that the regulars from October don't necessarily have to play all these preseason games. But, I could see some PTOs being offered. I know everybody's kind of excited about the comments from Klim Kostin this past week, how he really wants to come back. I don't know that there's a fit there, but Brett Leason's still out there. There's players like that. There's Ilya Samsonov, who's a goaltending PTO option. Gorgiev is still out there. Will any of those happen? I don't know, but I do love the idea of PTOs. I love competition, and the hashtag we use all the time at Oilers Nation is PTO everyone. It does, to me, it doesn't even matter who it is. Just bring in as much competition and let people fight for jobs. I don't want anything given on the Oilers anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I would PTO the world. I'd have enough to send to Bakersfield and create an entire line, defense, and goaltending. No kidding.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just think it's super important to have competition and just to have people coming in, not necessarily expecting a job to be written in stone. I like that, especially with some of the younger players, because as we saw, and I know I've pulled out Alex Chason's name a handful of times over the last month, but he was a guy who came in on a PTO and ended up scoring 22 goals for the Oilers. None of us necessarily saw that coming, but it's a product of opportunity. And I hope that they dish out some of those opportunities to multiple people, whether they stick or not.
Bag Milk, our guest from Oilers Nation on Sports 1440 on the Lowdown with Lowetide on YouTube as well. Among the European guys, Marhala has a lot of hair. The big defenseman Leppinen is a chaos defenseman, but man, he can post points. And then, I mean, based on right now, there's something of a chance that the guy from the Swedish league, whose name I can never remember, might make the team. What's your sense of, and do you have a favorite in that group?
The one I'm most intrigued by is probably David Thomas, just based on what he did in the Swedish league last year. That league is not easy to score in, and he kind of ran away with the race a little bit. Now, if you look at direct comparables of players who come over from Europe at his age, the most real comparable to him is actually Derek Ryan, coincidentally. So I don't necessarily know what I expect from David Tomasek, but if I'm looking at the European players that are coming over and trying to make an impact, he's definitely one that I'm looking at. He's got some skill. Whether or not he fits in what Chris Knobloch is planning remains to be seen, but if I'm picking a name, it's definitely him.
The player that I think is going to be the early favorite, just because he's going to crash and bang, is Connor Clattenburg. I know that you have great evaluators over there looking at players and what they can do, and I've read a lot of good things at Oilers Nation about Clattenburg. What's your suspicion about this player? Likely Bakersfield, and maybe a couple of years from now, he might see him up with a big club?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he had a really solid year last year in Flint. 46 games, he had 35 points. And for a guy who was a fifth-round pick, you go, okay, we take that. Sure, it's draft +2, but that's fine. He's going to make his jump to pro this year. And it's going to be interesting to see, and it's not just with Connor Clattenburg, but anybody who makes that leap from junior to pro, is how they can acclimatize themselves and how quickly they can get that done. The AHL, as much as we all know it as the farm team in Bakersfield, it's a damn good league. And expecting kids to come in and go smoothly probably isn't the best approach. But with a player like Clattenburg, he's got a lot of tools to like that could probably set him up for success down in the AHL. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. But yeah, a couple year project. Let's ride it out, and hopefully some of these later picks can turn into gold down the line.
So for you and I, because I think I'm not going to name everybody, but folks take the summer off as they should. It's a long year, especially those who travel with the team during the regular season and during the playoffs. But for you and I, who create content and write all 365 basically, 24/7. I can only tell you in my own mind how good it is to have some meat on the bone when you sit down at the typewriter and start typing. How does it feel for you to have, I know you do content in a wider range than just what you write, but how good is it to have something to assign or something to do?
It's so much nicer. Like as you were speaking, I even thought of the article I wrote at OilersNation.com on Sunday about Matthias Ekholm saying he wants to extend in Edmonton. And, those quotes only came out because the captain skates are happening, but that gave the opportunity to talk about something tangible. It's like, yes, I want Matthias Ekholm to be here. I love the player. I like how he settles the defense down. But then when you look at a player who's 35 going on 36 by the end of the season, what does the term look like on that? So I guess my point here is that was a real topic that we didn't have to invent, that I could talk about leading into training camp and write about it for the website. So it just makes life so much easier. You don't have to make things up. The projections, you can only write so many projections or look back at the season that was. So I was very excited to have something real to give an opinion on. And that only comes because we're inching our way towards the start of a new season.
Yeah, I know. When you sit down and the only thing you can think of as a title for an article is, why are there 2 dots above the A in Leppinen? Maybe you need some more content, right?
Yeah, like a historical breakdown on the umlaut is the exact kind of thing you write in August, isn't it? And I'm just excited to get past that. It was a very, very slow August for news. I mean, nothing happened this August. It was one of the slower ones that I remember in my time at Oilers Nation. So I'm just excited that things are happening and we can write about real things.
How's Frank?
Oh, Frank's excited. I was giving him a pep talk last night. I said, hey man, there's a rookie game this weekend. Maybe we should start getting Frank's picks back on the agenda to make sure you remember what's going on. This is the 8th season we're doing it together. Nice. So, he took a long summer off. He had plenty of time to relax, plenty of snacks. So I've got a feeling he's going to be energized for another season of Frank's picks.
Can't wait for it. Thanks for this. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Al.
All right, there you go. Bag milk from Oilers Nation. Talking a little Edmonton Oilers tomorrow night. Tomorrow will be the pregame. We'll talk lines and pairings, and we'll talk, about the weekend back-to-back against the Calgary Flames. We might even list off the players who are going to play for, well, we probably won't do that, but it'll be like real. And it's been a long time coming. I know you're looking forward to it, as am I. So that will be pretty cool. I want to PTO for the Donovan position on the show, not Declan. He's irreplaceable from Big Dur. Well, I would argue that everybody on this show is irreplaceable. I would especially argue that I am irreplaceable. And I would like Declan to stop writing emails to the boss every day saying that I'm not. It's getting old. And I also don't like that he CCs me on those.
Right.
I mean, that's sort of like
that's where I get a little rude with it.
In your
that
face.
I do apologize.
Further to our discussion, and you didn't get back to me. Stuff like that.
No. I do think you're irreplaceable. I truly think you're one of one. And I think you're a legend.
Mm-hmm. In what way?
What do you mean? You're a local legend. You've been doing this for 20 plus years.
I've been doing it a long time. I will say that.
You have a cult-like following, which is deserved.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out Brendan who texted in. It's radio. You're all replaceable. Zinger,
yeah,
zinger, and
but it's all true.
He's correct. Yeah,
honestly,
for sure.
God, it's the events of 2 years ago told us that.
Zinger on ourselves though this time a little bit.
There you go.
You got us.
Aren't we all one of one from Phil? Damn straight. Afternoon, boys. Just wondering what the percentage of viewers you guys think experienced milk in a bag and milk at the door. Well, when I was a kid, growing up in BC, we would get 4 glass bottles of milk delivered by the milkman. I think that was a week's worth. I don't know, but I think that was a week's worth. And when I moved to Edmonton, and we would go to Woodware's Food Floor because we lived at Village of Southgate, they had bagged milk there. And the thing about bagged milk that people who've never experienced it is you had to get the bagged milk, which was like, it's fairly not hefty or anything, but it's fairly awkward. It moves around. It's liquid. You had to get it into this little container. And sometimes getting that freaking thing into the container was really, really hard to do. And you looked like a fool when you couldn't get it in there. So did you ever have anything to do with bagged milk?
Never had bagged milk before in my life. I like the idea of it. I like the kind of Canadian just like specificity that is attached to it, but never had it.
Bad Niv says, Skinner didn't take this team anywhere, and you need to stop saying that crap. Remind me to keep saying that about Skinner.
Keep saying that crap.
Were you going to say something about bagged milk?
I'm going to say something about bagged milk.
He was real eager to get on there.
So my aunt and uncle live in Hamilton, Ontario with my cousins. Lovely
but
place.
You forgive them.
I do.
Yeah.
But they have bagged milk in Eastern Canada. I had no idea about this when I went there on a 12-year-old trip. Like when we turned 12, we'd fly out on our own to Ontario to see them. So they have bagged milk there. I am not a fan.
Because it's hard to get into the damn thing, right?
Yes. So
and then you pour it out and it falls out and it does blathery things.
Yeah, it's dumb. Like, why do we sell it like this? And then, like you gotta load it in there and then you cut the corner and then
don't cut it too big a corner.
You can't cut too big a corner because then it starts leaking into the thing. Like, why don't we just cut the milk bag entirely, pour it into the jug that we are putting this milk bag into, and then get a lid like we're making iced tea for the summer, and then just like leave it in there. But no, we leave it in the bag.
Yeah.
And we continue to pour it out of the bag until there's not enough milk left. And then you just gotta like roll it up like it's leftovers, and then you keep. Anyways,
and it's inefficient, is what it is.
I have beef with bagged milk, not jean shorts bagged milk.
Right.
The actual item bagged milk.
I have.
I do have beef with bagged milk though, because he doesn't follow me on Twitter, and I've been tweeting at him every Thursday for
my
2
favorite
years.
thing is
So does
people,
Steve Lansky.
I gotta tell McCurdy to stop following you because it irritates the hell out of him. By the way, we have Rachel coming up Monday at 12:40. I want to promote that. What was I going to say? Oh, you know what I'm mad about milk about right now?
Yeah, please
My
tell me.
kids, they all said, we're going to get oat milk now because it lasts longer. It won't go bad, Dad. So that'll be good. Except that they keep buying oat milk. So the whole damn fridge is full of oat milk and it won't go bad.
Now, how do you get milk from an oat?
Listen, I didn't go there. They drink it. It's fine. I don't like the taste, but it'll do in coffee.
I prefer oat milk to almond milk. My mom is big into this stuff. She can't really drink milk anymore.
Oh, okay.
So we found alternatives.
Right.
And
why do you move your eyebrows like it's some weird thing she has? A lot of people have that problem.
Yeah, why do you do it like it's just not really true?
My mom's lying about milk and we all have to suffer.
She's allergic to everything. All right.
Wow, you're taking shots at mom.
No,
she's
I love
allergic
my
to
mom.
everything, and you're
I
like,
love my
God,
mom.
it's just sickening. We can't have anything.
Well, like Dad is driving to Panorama right now, and then like he's gonna tell Mom to listen to this episode, and she's gonna start listening to this and be like, I can't believe I have such an ungrateful son, and that's Mom, I love you. All right. Like
Yeah.
this isn't.
Wow, I just can't believe you're throwing her under the bus
I'm
like
not
this.
throwing her under the bus.
We used to have steak, but you can't chew right anymore with
No,
her
we
teeth,
still
so
have
we can't have
steak.
that anymore.
She loves when we have
Well,
steak.
you
It's
say that
literally
now.
it's her favorite meal.
Oh,
It's her
Now-
favorite. We learned how to reverse sear steak. You know,
Yeah.
where you put it in the oven and then you put it in the pan.
Yeah.
My brother and I.
Who does the steak?
It's
You
me.
do. Very
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
See, that's why they keep you around.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why.
Okay, it's 1:21. We're going to take a break. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
I'm so happy. It's like the show.
Can you take us off YouTube, Sam?
How do I do? Just remove that.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
On Sports 1440 and YouTube, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continues at wolfgmcbuick.com. Song and artist, please.
Lauryn Hill finally got it.
Mhm.
Everything is everything.
I like that. Going through
It
the
was
seasons. Very nice. Kind of nice groove there.
She's one of the best artists to ever do it.
You know. I really like Rihanna. Gotta say.
Well,
I think she's going to be popular.
She'll make it.
She's
somehow.
going to sell some records.
She's just a legend. That's
Yeah.
what she is.
You know, you ever like scroll through Blue Sky or Twitter and then something strikes you as funny? I don't follow this individual. Chris Kluwe is his name, Kluwe, wrote, "What an exhausting time to be able to read." And it just struck me as funny. And it is, obviously, as people are saving it. If your backup played in 10 playoff games last year, do you really have a starter? From Colin. You know, one thing I will say, and I'll give credit to people who don't like Stuart Skinner, they're 24/7 on the Twitter machine and on the text line. They are absolutely there for it. There's a fight and a battle, and they will not give up. A lot of people think the reason Connor McDavid isn't signed yet is because the Oilers haven't figured out the goaltending situation. And I do think that drives quite a lot of it. I was going to go somewhere in this segment, and I'm just going to be honest with you. I forgot. When I was a kid, milk delivered by horse. And our mom had to come get my twin brother and I because we would not let the horse be with our dog. Rod. I believe that. Nut milks are gross. I'm allergic, so there's that. But still, if you hate the environment and waste energy, drink nuts milks and eat nut butter. LMOAO. Klaus from Beaumont. Coach Al says, milk from the cows is the best farmer way. That's true. I don't think anybody would I think people do it for other reasons, like Josh's mom, who's allergic to it and has ruined Josh's life because of it. We heard that in the last segment. But I just feel like people make that as a lifestyle kind of choice. But I mean, there's nothing like a glass of milk from the fridge from, the cow. It's really good. Really damn good. And cows are so much more fun to hang with than oats or wheat or any nut that I know. Although, Declan, would you classify yourself as a nut?
Oh, for sure.
Right.
For sure. Unhinged, nutty.
What I like about you is when you, during the break, you record stuff, right?
I exploded at Sam.
And
Sam,
so
I do apologize.
Sam is just new here. And I yelled at him yesterday.
Really, he honestly did nothing wrong.
No, he didn't.
Just explode. Sam, come over here and accept my apology. But also, if you don't accept my apology, that's fine and understandable as well.
Because
sorry, I forgot you have your own mic. I'll turn it on, actually.
Right. So how do you feel, Sam, yelled at the second day in a row?
I completely understand it. It was kind of like a little absent-minded there.
I cussed at him twice.
You were recording something, and he talked, and then you had to do it again.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And it's such an inconsequential thing that I had to do. But I had to do it. Then I freaked out.
Yeah. But
so
it
that's
wasn't
my bad.
It was, and I'm thankful for Sam because it would have been very bad. It wasn't like the porridge situation. That was really bad. You were grumpy as hell and loud.
I will
and
say,
lashing out.
When you said earlier in the show today, I think you've been grumpy and in a bad mood. I didn't think it was true until just a few seconds ago. I realized I have been for a week now.
You kind of have, but here's the thing, and I'm going to say this. This is a bit of life advice I can give you. The people that you want to be around in life are the people that can admit they've been grumpy. You will find a whole group of people who can't admit it. And they're so damn irritating because it's pretty obvious. I get grumpy and I get belligerent and, I'm contrarian. And if somebody can point that out, then it helps, because then you go, geez, I am being an ass, and I've been an ass for, 8 days. That helps. But if there's somebody out there who is just so full of themselves that they either take offense to it or deny it, then I think it's a problem, because then you are unaware of yourself, and that usually doesn't make for a good relationship. That was my TED Talk.
Nice. That was a great TED Talk.
Are you back to talk about your mom again?
No, I'm just going to say, Sam, I sympathize with your situation, but at least Declan didn't hit you. He did hit me.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he
didn't say hit.
Lambaste? I mean, what word would you like?
Smack?
It's
a different word than hit.
I wonder what they said at HR when they, filed it. I mean,
Do we
I'm
have
not
an
sure.
HR here? No, Sam, it was fine. He hit my phone out of my hand.
It's definitely not personal.
It was not personal. He hit my phone out of my hand because he thought I was taking a picture of what he was doing, and he was like, "Don't record this." I was like, I was just trying to.
What was he doing?
He was trying to upload hour 2 of the Lowdown with Lowetide using CapCut with just the audio.
Brutal process.
And for whatever reason, it didn't work. I actually don't know why. And
Connor just resigned.
Oh my God!
Whoa!
Breaking news.
What's the contract?
Oh no! Oh, come on, Brad. He says, "No, I'm just messing with you."
Oh my God!
You got it from the text line. Rookie move.
I don't.
Turn his mic
Okay.
off.
Let's all yell at Sam.
Honestly, if you guys want to all take a second and get one off on me, it would be deserved.
No, you're a
work
nice
hard.
guy. You're not a guy that we would think badly about.
Maybe I am the problem.
No, you're not. I would tell you if you were.
Yeah, that's right. You would.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt about it. Sam, you have to go sit in the corner for that McDavid thing.
You got us. Well,
My
who was
God.
it that texted that in the text line?
He got him. He got him so bad.
And it was all in caps too, which you would do. And there was the hyphen in the right spot. It's all perfect. Well done, Brad.
Good job, Brad. You got us.
And Brad actually used a nipple joke just before that. So
Yeah.
Brad's on a roll today.
The oat
Was
nipple.
he the oat nipple?
Can't listen to B Rad, man. Can't listen to B Rad.
Be rad.
Brad.
Is that what you call Brad? Be rad?
B Rad?
What are you, Aaron here? What is-
Aaron?
Is this new?
D Nice.
That's anyway. Sam the Record Man, Northgate was the store I bought my first records at. Fleetwood Mac, Bob Seger, Supertramp, Terry Jacks, Rolling Stones. Guess who? Great store. Love all that. Love all of that, Coach Al. First record I ever bought was a 45. It was called Make Me Do Anything You Want by A Foot in Cold Water. It was a great record. I loved that record. And then I think the first album I bought was by Chilliwack. I don't remember the name of it, but if I saw the album cover, I could tell you. Calling in from a phone number. That's not even funny.
I was gonna say,
That's the show.
Shout out the guy who's texted in 3 times in 2 years, never given a name, to text in to let us know how unfunny the Connor McDavid prank was.
I know.
We were fleeced first by B-Rad and then by young Sam over here. So I mean, I was like, oh my God, how many years?
Yeah, this is an important lesson in media, Sam. Check your sources
It's like
before you say anything.
Yelling fire in a movie theater,
Yeah.
But then again, it did create a little interest in a segment that had gone badly awry, and so we're back.
And now it's back to being awry.
Josh, what the heck, man?
What the heck to that, man?
Sam, you're fired from Ranger Nick. I don't like the new guy now from Northside Adam. Oh, man. First record I bought was Kiss Destroyer on 8-track. I remember Kiss got a lot of pub in Cream. I'd never heard them. And then I heard Rock and Roll All Night on the radio, and I loved it. I loved that song. And I think most people my generation loved Kiss. I even loved the disco song. Everybody did, but nobody admits it anymore. By the way, I'm wearing a hoodie today, and it's paying homage to Boston. Their first album was everybody's favorite album. You had it on cassette, you had it on vinyl. Then you would buy a second cassette because the tape got stretched, so you had to play the second cassette. You might have it on 8-track, and they didn't release another album for like 3 years, so you played it 3 years in a row. There were 1,100 hit singles on the album. Boston was, for a big part of my teenage life, the ultimate band, and that was a great record. Probably Chilliwack Fly at Night, 1979. No, I was buying albums before then. I would have been buying albums by 74 for sure. I would have bought albums. B-Rad says, I ruined Sam's career. I was just expecting a quiet behind-the-scenes scramble for information. Didn't think he'd say it out loud. Also, never B-Rad. Never. Okay, Brad. Okay. And nicely done, owning that you ruined Sam's career. But Sam, what industry will you get into now?
Radio, Sam. Answer radio.
I was going to say radio, or maybe I'll just go back to school for chemical engineering.
Chemical engineering. That's an awesome one. What would be, if you went and got chemical engineering degree, what would be your ultimate job be after that?
Oh, I'd probably want to do something where it's like I'm sitting in a cushy office and telling everybody else what to do, because I've had like 8 years in this industry and I have a degree.
Okay. So do you think you'll be doing that in radio? Because that will never happen.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Because everything runs downhill in radio, Sam, just so you know. And by everything, I mean everything. So you do get some of the perks when you've been around for 45 years. But my parking stall isn't as close to the building as Declan's, and he's been in the business for 3 years.
Well, 2. Well, plus the time at 12:60, but 2 here.
Okay, but I said business.
Yeah.
Okay, on the way, declinations. We're going to talk CFL. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continues at wolfgmcbuick.com. There's street racing still? Any of you three street race? Declan?
No. I drive a Kia Rio, so it's not really.
What about you?
I'll like race my friends on the highway, except they have faster cars than me and they drive manual and I drive automatic.
Stop that. Seriously.
Never.
No, please.
Never.
Come on. That, you know, when you're young, you do dumb stuff. I know that, but that's not. You're smart, far smarter than that.
I never told you how fast we go. What if we're just like, who can beat you there in like 45 kilometers an hour? You know.
Okay, then you're the saddest young people in the history of man.
No.
All right, it's time for Declinations, brought to you by Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Krueger breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth Double E football coverage on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast. And with that, we say a hearty hello to Mr. CFL, Mr. Elks, Declan Krueger.
Wow. What an intro. Again. You guys don't have to clap for me. I yelled at everyone like 8 minutes ago. Well, just Sam.
That's all right, man. I forgive you.
It's okay. Sam stopped crying now. So
listen, it'll probably maybe happen. It's never personal. Here's another thing I do. I snap my fingers a lot, which is most people would perceive as rude.
Yeah.
I don't do that to be rude. I just do it to get attention. So,
I think, one of the things you could cut back on is when you're passing me in the hallway and you say, out of the way, moron, that kind of thing. Really,
right.
People do get hurt feelings about that.
No, that's something that even Jason was like, listen, you can trip him, but cut out the moron.
Right.
You know
I mean, it's
so,
sticks and stones, but I mean, we're in a professional working environment.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. It's a place of business.
Sure.
I got to start acting like it.
Right.
CFL. Wow. Okay. Got all my Josh, Sam, you guys CFL fans?
I mean, I'm more of a CFL fan now thanks to Elks Nation.
Right.
Brought to you by Eddie Steele and Declan Krueger.
Yeah.
2 weekly podcasts.
For sure.
Here, just take the script.
Sorry, I have most of it memorized.
Sam, you CFL
fan? Yeah, I'm a big Riders fan.
Yeah, okay, me
God,
too.
of course
Me
you
too. Yeah, that's a thing with
Freaks.
LT's producers. They're all
It's just
Rider fans.
I
just
just
a better
cannot
football team.
escape
Yes.
Rough Rider fans.
It's all right.
It's just it's like they come into town with these cars that have been cut in half and they put a truck back on them.
Go Blue Bombers.
All right. Let's break down the games this week. Winnipeg, Hamilton, that's one kicking off the action. Winnipeg, excuse me. Chris Strevler going to be the quarterback for this one. Listen, 4, 5, 6 years ago. Yeah. Right now, I don't love I don't love his ability where he stands in his career. You know, the team is infinitely better with Zach Caleros at quarterback, but even still, this isn't really the same iteration of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers team we've seen in a little while. Like we've come to know and expect, I guess is the best way to
They've
describe
eroded,
it.
right?
They have a little bit. And listen, all good things come to an end, and it's tough to stay at the top for that long, especially in football, and honestly, especially in the CFL, when these days you're really not seeing guys sign contracts longer than 3 years. So they're still fine. They're competitive. They're good-ish. They're third in the West right now. But they have certainly taken a back step. And Hamilton, the East is very weak, but Hamilton has still kind of separated themselves from everyone else in the East. They're playing this game at home. They're coming off a win against a division opponent where you would think they're going to be able to build some confidence. I like Hamilton to win this one.
So would you say with Winnipeg eroding and obviously their best days are behind them, that we can say with certainty Connor McDavid will not sign there?
With the Blue Bombers or with the Jets?
With the Blue Bombers.
Oh, I don't think Connor McDavid could. I don't think he could play professional football.
I bet he could
play like wideout.
He could probably play. I guess he could probably play
with
wide
that
out.
speed. Holy,
for sure. But I mean, he'd be on his feet, not on skates.
I bet you.
I like his chances.
Yeah, I bet you still got absolute.
You're
rockets.
probably. I'm sure you're probably right.
You know, they used to back in the olden days.
I
They'd have
think-
these celebrity races, and Gretzky would win all of them in Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
but no, he won one against it was Sugar Ray Leonard, Pele, and someone else, and Pele was like in his 70s. The other guy was in his 70s.
You are totally describing that particular.
No.
race.
Look, go look it up.
No,
Go look it up. It was against old men.
It was Usain Bolt, and
Usain Bolt
I'd
would have
watch
been
that.
like 7.
yeah. See, well, he wasn't fast enough, was he?
Usain Bolt would have been less. It wouldn't have been. He would have been less than. Honestly, Usain Bolt at 7 is probably faster than like 99.9% of humans who have ever lived.
I bet you he generated that speed around 11 once puberty started.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It would have big power for sure.
Oh yeah.
Ottawa, BC. Ottawa beat BC last week. This is a rematch. They beat them 34-33. They had 18 points in the fourth quarter. Dustin Crum played great. Khalil Pimpleton had a huge catch down the sideline to put them in scoring position. Gino Lewis finished it off. But it's funny to me, Ottawa just won this one, and now BC is 9.5 point favorites. Like, that is a really, really, really sizable spread. I probably do like BC to win this one because they're playing with some desperation. They're at home, and I don't think Ottawa's that good. But that spread just seems insane. I like Ottawa to cover surely. I probably don't like them to hit Magic twice and get the win, but it's like at 9.5 points is just far too much for these teams. That's what I'll say. So I'll take BC to win the game, but I like Ottawa with the points.
Like it.
Montreal and Saskatchewan. Montreal's on like their 4th-string quarterback and have looked really like worse every time they've played for the last however many weeks here, 3-4. I gotta go back and look and see when their last win was.
What's the line?
That line's 9.5 as well.
Over smash.
Yeah, Montreal hasn't won a game since week 8, and this is week 15.
Well,
so
maybe
they've had
they're
some
tired.
buys in there, but it's not looking great. They obviously only lost to Edmonton by 1 point in that one game in Montreal. Listen, I like Saskatchewan to win. I probably like Saskatchewan to cover.
This should be a college football line.
So some of those college football lines get hilarious. But what this really is, this is a good team playing at home against a team that has not won since week 8 is on their 4th-string quarterback. Like, what do we all think is going to happen here? You know what I mean? So I like Saskatchewan to win and cover in that one. Then Edmonton, Toronto. Very winnable game for Edmonton. They're 5-7. BC's 5-7. Winnipeg is 6-6. So we're not going to say any game is must-win territory quite yet. But boy, a win does a lot more than a loss. And Toronto is a really, really beatable team, I think. One of the keys to the game when the first time they played them was taking Andrew Chatfield out of the game. At that point in the season, he was leading the league in sacks, and he was going up against Brett Boyko. And Brett Boyko had been pretty underwhelming and had his fair share of hiccups at the right tackle position, but they were able to hold Andrew Chatfield to no sacks and just the 1 tackle. They have to take him out of the game as well. I think they need to run the ball. They need to establish the run. They need to establish the offensive line moving forward and being the hammer, not being the nail, and letting Justin Rankin get going. And then obviously with Cody back there, just time and give him time and allow him to be the calm, composed quarterback he is, but quick routes. Like, we want slants, we want 5-yard outs, we want 5-yard ins, we want hooks. We want things where Cody can get the ball out quickly and you can move the ball, build a drive. So those would be, and then defensively, Nick Arbuckle, they don't really have a running game. They're going to have to air the ball out. Nick Arbuckle is a guy who, like I said, he's played a lot better than he had beginning this season. Chad Kelly's back, and they're still giving Nick Arbuckle first-team reps. I think it'd be kind of crazy to go away from your starting quarterback in week 15.
Who's leading the league in passing yards?
Who is leading the league in passing yards? Well, he has to because they can't run the ball. Like, he has to air it out.
Let me ask you something about not running the ball. They haven't brought in some cut from the NFL to try to make a difference. Like, this is the time of year where CFL rosters can turn over a little bit.
I haven't seen any roster moves for the Argos as of recently. I'll have to check, but it's just
I never trust CFL East coaches.
Yeah, it's a little it's a little. I like Ryan Dinwiddie as a coach. I think he's one great cut. Like, he's done it, so I have trust in him. But it's just in their identity is passing the ball. What their offense is built around. Edmonton's DBs played their best game of the year last week. So I like them to be able to take it away. And I like Edmonton to win this one on the road. This line was actually a really, really funny line to me. Toronto is favored by 4.5.
That is weird.
So I like Edmonton.
take Edmonton.
I like Edmonton on the money line.
At least, closer to a pick 'em, but I would take Edmonton as the favorite there. Are you done?
Yep.
Okay. Phil says, I remember attending a Chilliwack concert in the Kinsman Fieldhouse, 1972. Bill Henderson played the bass like a lead guitar. Groundhog was the fan fave. They did not do an encore. The promoter finally came out on stage and said the boys were too tired to perform. We were bummed. Oh, and the air was sweet perfume. You know what that means. I went to Bora Bora for my honeymoon, one of the most remote places on earth. And what do I see after taking a 2-puddle jumper ride and a boat ride to our secluded resort? A Rough Rider jersey. I'm not surprised. I've been in Los Angeles, and there's a guy with a Rough Rider. Sandusky. Come on. What are you going to do? McDavid strikes me as a kicker. Hey, now. I heard a rumor from that one guy who heard from this one girl that her kid heard from a teacher at the school who found out from Sam that he signed today from D Black. I think that might stick with you, Sam. That might be your reputation,
More than likely.
Well, you said it with authority. So nobody can ever say you didn't speak into a microphone with authority.
Well, it was all caps, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, is this true?" And it's
like, well, it was funny, and we apologize to anybody that we led astray, but it was in real time. Coach Al says we used to race a street race in the 70s in our muscle cars, and that was kind of my point. All the cars now are different degrees of equal, so back then you could do some things, but who knows? It's not like I'm up to date on muscle cars. When Declan was learning his multiplication tables, his parents snapped their fingers to keep it rolling from Tiger. These young people don't know their multiplication tables. And one of the things that I will do with Sam during our one-on-one that we'll have later on when he produces the show and we've got time is we will talk about multiplication tables and why they're not learning 14 and those sorts of things.
You couldn't even think of a second number?
No, I meant 12 times 12 is 144, and then I blew it. So, I mean, do you know your multiplication tables?
When we used to do the Mad Minute in school, I was so cold. The only person who would beat me would be Wilson Tong. Shout out Wilson. But every time he was the only one in the class who would beat me. And I would track everyone's times.
You were such a nerd. Tracking times?
Well, it was kind of rude because me and Wilson would finish immediately. And then, some people would take a little longer. And here I am as a 12-year-old writing it down. You know what I mean? It's like, what did I really need that information
You
for?
needed to be on Reach for the Top.
Yeah.
Do you know what that was?
No, but it sounds like something I would be into.
Back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, Edmonton area schools would have trivia games on television. And you'd represent, Emmy Lazert or whatever it was. And they'd have teams and they'd ask skill testing questions and you'd have playoffs and then somebody eventually would win. A friend of mine who's since passed, may he rest in peace, Guy Vaughn, was on several teams that won. And he talked about it like it was the Olympics. So it meant a lot to kids in school. You would have been great at that.
Some say the best.
So you're telling me chemical engineers don't need to know math? Wow, from Greater Man J. Well, I hate to break it to you, but that appears to be the case. What Sam is good at is blurting out non-factual information during a period when what he says would have been important. And we found that out today. I don't know if he can use it on a resume, but we'll see. All right, Jason Gregor on the way. Thanks for tuning into the Lowdown. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Play Alberta is an all-new app. Download it and get boosted odds on all the big games. Plus, play casino games, grab lottery tickets, and try some quick and easy instant games all on your phone. PlayAlberta.ca. MLB scores right now. The White Sox lead the Rays 2-0 in the bottom of the sixth, and the Blue Jays up on the Astros 3-0 in the bottom of the third. One final from earlier saw the Orioles over the Pirates 3-2. News around the sporting world. A limited partner with the LA Clippers reportedly sent nearly $2 million to a now bankrupt company that allegedly gave Kawhi Leonard an endorsement deal for a no-show job less than 10 days before the star forward was paid $1.75 million by the company. Minnesota Wild general manager Bill Guerin said yesterday the team is continuing to negotiate with Kirill Kaprizov after a media report indicated the star winger turned down a record-setting deal, and Zach Collaros is out of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers lineup for Friday's game with the Ticats. One final piece of news. Former Oiler Olivier Rodrigue had his contract with KHL's Veres Astana terminated. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton.